I want to welcome everybody here today to the kickoff, the announcement of the Republican Policy Committee Law Enforcement Task Force. You know, tensions between law enforcement and communities across the country have rarely been higher, and that's not good for our country. Our hope with this task force is that we're going to push through the caricatures and let people know that Republicans stand with law enforcement in this country, but we also stand with the communities that they represent, and it's important that the community's voice be heard in this debate. I'm very proud of the team that we've been able to assemble on this task force, representing more than 90 years of law enforcement experience to help us as we come together with real policy ideas that will help make the environment for both law enforcement and those who are served by law enforcement in this country better. We're proud to have Chairman Reichert with his amazing experience, former Sheriff Reichert, be the chairman of this task force. The first person I want to give you an opportunity to hear from today, though, is a great friend of mine from Indiana, someone who had a distinguished career as a U.S. attorney, Miss Susan Brooks.
Thanks, Luke. Good morning, everyone. I'm really pleased to be a part of this task force. I want to commend Chairman of our policy group, Luke Messer, for convening the group. I want to commend also Congressman Reichert with his stellar reputation as a sheriff in the state of Washington. I think he's the perfect person to lead this effort. I'm a former United States attorney during the Bush administration, and I believe that the types of issues that we are seeing today deserve our attention. I've worked closely with law enforcement, but actually as a former deputy mayor in one of the largest cities in the country, in Indianapolis, I've been at the table convening these types of discussions with the community and with law enforcement dealing with tough issues. And I think that's what we hope this task force does, is brings together the community, faith leaders, neighborhood leaders, city leaders of all kinds, youth leaders as well, to meet with law enforcement and our law enforcement leaders. Whether it's the chiefs of police or the head of the FOPs, we need to be convening these discussions about what the problems are in their communities with law enforcement with the community, and how can we solve those problems so that we respect our law enforcement, so that we keep safety first and foremost in the minds of not only our law enforcement but our communities. We need to make sure that the community is working hand in hand, supporting law enforcement, and we need to make sure that law enforcement understands the issues that are facing our communities. And so that's why I'm very pleased to be a part of this effort. Look forward to working with my own communities in the 5th District of Indiana, but also, importantly, helping lead these discussions around the country. So I commend the chair of this effort and Luke Messer for getting us started, and look forward to having a safe and productive summer. Thank you.
Chairman, you want to go?
Sure.
Well, good morning. I'm Steve Knight. I served as a Los Angeles police officer for a little over 18 years, served in 5 divisions in the city of LA, and 2.5 years in a gang task force, a crash division. So I have a good representation of what it is like to be a municipal police officer on the street. I was also a mayor pro tem for a medium-sized city, the city of Palmdale in California, while I was a police officer. So I got to see a little bit of both, of how the government worked with law enforcement and how they worked with the community, and some of the problems that might come out of law enforcement and community, or some of the issues that might come out of that. But I think that this committee can bring forward some of the best practices that work across the country, know that we support the community, and know that we support law enforcement. A proactive law enforcement is a good department, and that's, I think, what we should be espousing, and that's what we should be pushing. But I commend Congressman Messer and Congressman Reichert for doing this, and I appreciate being here.
Thanks, Susan. Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here. I hope you don't mind we've left the suit jackets off. It's a little warm, but as you can see, we've got a good mix of professional experience that we brought together, and these are just 4 of the members of this group. We have, we'll supply a list of the other members of our team. I first want to commend the President for putting together a task force a few months ago, and they came out with one page of recommendations that the federal government might want to look into as far as helping community and law enforcement. So one of the things that I get, along with Steve and some others who have been cops on the street, is the critical importance of partnership between community and the police department. If you don't have trust that exists between community and the police department, we cannot successfully keep our families, our communities, our schools, our children safe. The cops can't do it alone. The community can't do it alone. And so over the last few years, one of the things that I've recognized is that partnership and that trust has eroded. And the chasm between police and community has expanded and broadened. And we are in a very critical state in this country where if we don't turn it around, things in our neighborhoods will get worse. We have to bring police and community together in order to protect our neighborhoods. One of the ways that we can do that is to create that trust again. So this committee will be focused on, first of all, how did we get here? And I think over the last year we've seen a series of events after Ferguson especially that have increased that tension and that division between police and community. So we're going to be meeting with not only law enforcement agencies and law enforcement representatives, police chiefs and sheriffs, but as Susan said, representatives of and around and across the board in the community. And that means community leaders, community activists, teachers, parents, faith-based leaders. Those are people we want to talk to find how did we get here, and then to find out, once we hear the problem, what are the solutions to bringing the police and community back together again? What are the solutions to creating and recreating that trust between police and community? So this is not about the federal government, as I've been asked, as we've announced this project over and over again. This is not at all about the federal government trying to control or manage city police departments or sheriff's offices or state patrol agencies. This is all about trying to find some way to show our support. We know we have a problem in this country. The police officers and community across this nation need to know that members of Congress are aware of it and that we're looking for solutions to it. And when we find the solutions, I know we'll find some that will apply to local police departments and sheriff's offices, and I know that we'll share those with those agencies for them to act on. But we'll also, I think, find some areas where the federal government can help provide some guidance. And it is my hope that possibly we might be able to even find some funding to help support some of the efforts to bring police and community together. So I appreciate everyone for being here again. And Luke, thanks for sticking around in this hot weather. Did you want to take a couple questions?